as our next discussion will be around women lawyers, women and justice, of course, and you are going to be joined by other women lawyers from around the world. So I'd like to call to the stage Sandrine Giroux from Switzerland, Susanna Ferrer from Spain, Oufia Sidoum from Algeria, Stephanie Boyce from the UK, in a conversation that will be moderated by Ronan and Nguyen-Van. Please come and join us here on stage. Vanessa, please feel free to take it. Thank you, welcome. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but we're running out of time, so if you keep this conversation very tight, that'd be much appreciated. Thank you very much. Ronan, over to you.
First, I would like to thank you so much, Vanessa, and a huge congratulations for this great initiative, Bâtonnière du Monde. This lawyer club is a major shift and will be, for sure, a great change, a great game changer. I'm convinced that this club will move the world of law. So bravo, bravo, mesdames. Before we begin this session, I would like to extend a warm welcome to the presidents of Bar Association who have joined us for this historic journey at the Women's Forum today. We are honored by your presence. I ask you to please join me in warmly welcoming for the Bar of Paris Dominique de la Garanderie, Christiane Ferral-Schul, Marie-Aimée Perron, Julie Couturier, Dominique Athias, and Nathalie Roret. For the Bar of Bruxelles, Marie Dupont. For the Bar of Louisiana, Shayna Saunier. For the Ivory Coast, Florence Lohan Messan. For the Bar of Odessa, Olena Zabourian. For United Kingdom, Tana Atkin. And finally, for Germany, Julia Eisel. So in the spotlight today, during this session, we still have, we are quite lucky we still have Vanessa Boussardeau. And it's my big pleasure to welcome Sandrine Giroux, Sandrine Giroux, she's the president of the Bar Association of Geneva. Susanna Ferrer from the Bar of Barcelona. We also have Stephanie Boyce. Stephanie Boyce is the first woman of color who was the president of the Law Society in the United Kingdom. And last but not least, Oufia Sidoum. Ladies, just few words. You are pioneers, visionaries, fighters who are paving the way for future generations. So thank you very much for that. Every day you demonstrate that there are no limits to women's legitimate aspiration, and the equality between women and men shouldn't be a quest, but only the norm, a lived and proven reality. So, we are starting with the questions. My first question will be for you, Vanessa. In your role as Vice President of the Bar of Paris Association, you've gained a broad perspective on the issues faced by nearly 34,000 lawyers. In your opinion, what are the major equality challenges that women lawyers continue to face, and what are the potential initiatives to address them?
Thank you for the question. We might think that because it's a legal profession, equality and the rule of law, which are central in the profession, we might think that gender equality would be more evolved than in other fields, and it's definitely not the case. Women lawyers still face major, significant challenges in their profession. First of all, there still is a pay gap, an important pay gap between men and women in the legal profession. The total earnings of women lawyers throughout their careers are 50% lower than men. This number is staggering, but it reflects a systemic problem that we cannot ignore. Secondly, additionally, there is still the glass ceiling. Reaching partnership is still much more difficult for women than men in the legal profession. Moreover, in France, within the first 5 to 10 years of practice, there is a significant number of female lawyers who leave the profession. And it has naturally nothing to do with competence, nothing to do with ambitions, but it's often tied to discrimination, particularly when it comes to having babies, starting a family. And motherhood is as well, unfortunately, a significant challenge for women lawyers. When female lawyers begin thinking about having babies, they fear losing their job or being not considered for promotion or raises. We have been reported that sometimes in law firms, candidate women are asked about their plan, about creating a family, and naturally it's not a question asked to men. Even after their return in their law firm, after their maternity leave, they often find themselves passed over for raises, for promotions, supposedly because they didn't meet, allegedly, their objectives. And this frustrating reality still persists in our profession. And we can say that, in a way, there is a sort of glaring double standard. You know, when a man becomes a father, it's often not always, but it's often seen, like he became more mature, more responsible. But, you know, for women lawyers, it became a sort of obstacle, a burden. And all these elements are barriers for career progression for women. And in my own experience, when I ran for the Paris Bar Association, my second child was very, very young because he was still a baby. And I was balancing both personal and professional responsibilities. And I received two, comments, support, but also comments about whether I was able to manage, both. And surprisingly, these questions were not asked to my counterparts, male counterparts, who were, for some of them, also parents. So women still face challenges, and it's very important to address this situation. And the Paris Bar Association has always, the Paris Bar has always been committed in addressing this subject, to promoting gender equality, and we have taken concrete steps to support women in the profession with the help with the Paris Bar Association, the Paris Bar Council. We have taken concrete steps. We have launched initiatives such as a lactation room, such as a daycare. We have a program to create a daycare for lawyers. And we try to do the maximum to address these situations, but I don't want to be too long.
Thank you, Vanessa. Let's see if in Switzerland you are facing the same issues. Sandrine Giroux, the next question would be for you. Sandrine, you are a prominent lawyer in Geneva and president of the Bar of Geneva. Can you share with us the programs that have been implemented in Geneva to tackle gender equity in the legal profession, to promote and to accompany women in law?
Thanks. And first, I wanted to thank Vanessa and also the Paris Bar for launching this fantastic initiative, because I think the first step is to acknowledge that there is a problem and to understand what the problem is, that beyond just mere and obvious sexual harassment that may happen, it's often a hidden obstacle along the way, which makes that a lot of women are leaving the profession or are not in position of decision to influence the process. So just to give you some figures which echo completely the situation in Paris, in most countries, the justice or legal professions are female professions. You have more female students than male students. You tend to have more female associates than male associates. But when it comes to partners, you drop to 30% women partners, at least in Geneva, and when you look at where these women are partners, it is in their own practice. So they're not in big firms, and they're not in places where you have decision-making powers, where you can really talk about money and have a big influence or systemic influence. And then these women who are busy doing their legal job all day don't have the time to also be involved in bar association, where you decide the future of the profession. So justice is still is becoming more a female field, but only to a certain level, and a lot of women are leaving the legal profession to go into the judiciary, which then leads to another issue. You have a judiciary which is becoming very female, where you have less men. So you really have a bigger problem of diversity. So I think the first issue is to acknowledge the problem. And maternity obviously is a challenge, but beyond that is also the way you address women and their own challenges, not being colorblind to the difficulties that women are facing along the way. And I like a phrase I heard from Meryl Streep saying that all her life she had to speak men in a house of men, and that she wanted for once to speak women in a house of women. So also learning from each other and learning about the challenges helps also mentors, partners, law firms help female associates go along the way and take position. So what we're doing as a bar association is first we set up a commission on equality to promote female lawyers in the profession. We have set up a mentoring program which has been incredibly successful, where a female or a male senior lawyer mentor a junior female lawyer. And we had also interesting discussion about opening the position of mentors to men. A lot of men felt illegitimate to mentor female associates, which was an interesting discussion to have, and we engaged on that issue, and that we have now diverse teams, and that has been really, really impactful on the whole bar. We have also set up a day of female lawyer in Switzerland, where all bar associations team up and come, and that's also been an opportunity for awareness and sharing experiences. And I think solidarity, moments like this, where you get positive energy to face the challenges that you overcome, that you're facing on your daily basis, but also sharing experiences and tools to help our bar association have a systemic impact on the legal profession. Mm-hmm. Because it's only about women, it's also about men, and as I said, diversity is an issue, both sides. Otherwise, we'll tend to have a very fragmented justice, which is not what we want to help solve the problems that you mentioned.
Thank you so much. The next question will be for Susana Ferrer de Barcelona. In your work within the Barcelona Bar, how do you foster gender equity in legal practice?
Thank you, Ronan. Thank you. First of all, of course, I would like to thank Vanessa to sit me in this chair with those amazing women, because I think that this is the point. We have to speak loud about what we are feeling, and everyone in its role. So I have to say that when I listen to you, I really feel I should say the same, because I'm also a lawyer, mother of 2 daughters, Vice President of the Bar Association of Barcelona, and I think that the most important thing for women as lawyers is to give an example. Try to set an example with our own lives, with our own professions, and try to make the other women to feel that this is possible, okay? That you can have your own personal life or your family life, your professional life, and you also can have an institutional role, because it's really important for women to take the leadership in this type of roles, because it's from here, from where we can have a voice and decide what you were saying, not decide which type of strategies we can take to have a more united world and equal world. From the Bar Association of Barcelona, we have been thinking, I have been 8 years, this will be my 8 years, we have our milestones of our most recent actions would be, first of all, our equality plan. So this is a plan where we are not only implement for us ourselves from our bar association, but also we train other bars from Spain to have an equality plan, to have an effective one, okay? And also we train firms to have equality plans, because this is not something that you just write and let there. It's something that you have to live, to implement every day in all the decisions of the institutions and, of course, of the firms. Also, we have been celebrating for more than 5 years the Women, Business and Justice forum, which is much smaller than this one, but also give us the opportunity to know what women think about law profession, but from other points of view, like technicians, scientifics, economics, okay? We join all the important voices in Spain, in Barcelona Bar Association, to speak about what they feel about justice, okay, and law practice. Also, we have our observatories. What we do with our observatories is going from one bar to another in Spain to see where the women that are practicing law feel the discrimination okay? Because every woman is different, and each one feels the discrimination in a different way. I'm sure about that. Even if we are have the same feelings. So sometimes it's the salary, sometimes it's only how they treat them, sometimes it's why they gestion the maternity, sometimes it's because they think they cannot. I want to say one thing. We have to think that we can do whatever we want. Sometimes it's our problem. Of course, it's not a part of the problem is our heads. We have to break our own boundaries, our own limits. So this is something that speaking with women, it's really important. And more or less, I think this is a more important thing, to put the women in the center of the picture, literally, okay? As I'm just finishing, there is a woman in Spain, a minister that says, yeah, if I'm not in the picture, I'm not with more women, I'm not in the picture. So I think this is the point.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Hi, Stephanie Boyce. Please, can you tell us how has your leadership influenced the discourse on gender and racial equity within the legal profession?
Absolutely. So I'm absolutely delighted to be here and to be on such an esteemed panel. So, as you previously alluded to, I became president of the Law Society of England and Wales in March 2021, and I served right through till October 2022. So, from what we understand, the longest serving president, but during one of the most turbulent times in our nation's history, for a number of reasons, including the death of Her Majesty the Queen. But what my ascension would mark would be that I would become the 177th, the 6th female, the first black, the first person of colour to become president in the society's almost 200-year history. I made it my mission. My mission remains. I remain absolutely committed to ensuring that the profession is more diverse and inclusive than the one I entered. I made EDI right at the forefront and centre, but not just equality, diversity and inclusion, or equity, diversity and inclusion, as I like to say it. And I say it purposely and intentionally in that order, because in my mind, once you have the equity, the diversity and the inclusion will follow. So in the United Kingdom, there's lots of initiatives, and we've talked about collaboration, we've talked about voices. If we pool our resources, if we pool our voices, how powerful and impactful we could be. So the point being is that I also intertwined it with social mobility, and of course that's the way that you straddle between social classes. And of course the United Kingdom has a big emphasis, whether we speak about it or not, and we're speaking about it a bit more now, but there is a class structure. And so somebody like me, for instance, first generation British, coming from a single parent household, growing up in government housing, the question that lots of people want to know is, how did I make it to the top of my profession and stay there and do it successfully? Some of that is down to the resilience and the determination, but also it was that honest belief that I had in myself. I didn't get there on my own. There have been plenty of people who have made those crooked paths a bit stronger, straighter, and wider, because far too often, as we know, that the path to senior roles is too narrow, and the barriers, seen and unseen, that we've had to navigate our way through, and I'm still having to navigate my way through some of those seen and unseen barriers. But the point is, I knew if I got there how impactful it would be. Just to have a visible role model where people could see somebody like me, see somebody in that role, and as some have said, doing it well, that they could aspire to do that as well. But I absolutely talked about EDI. But what we are seeing in the United Kingdom and across the globe in many parts is that rollback on EDI. We talk lots in the UK about intersectionality, and that's where multiple forms of diverse characteristics interlap that then perhaps increase discrimination more so. There is so much more that remains to be done. But we need, as we've heard colleagues speak about, in terms of allyship. We can't have a conversation or do this in the absence of men. Men have to be part of this conversation in order for us to achieve equality. There is so much more to be done. I long for a time when we're no longer talking about gender inequality, because we've got that parity. We've got the parity in terms of, we talk lots in the UK about ethnicity pay gap, because there is still a difference in how much you are paid depending on your race, your colour, as well as your gender, as well as your social status. So there is lots to be done, and the charge continues, I guess. And that's why I remain committed and have dedicated my time to ensuring that certainly in the legal profession, and what I would say about the legal profession in the United Kingdom is, again, similar to lots of what we've heard, senior parts of the profession is not representative across the diversity characteristics. And in the United Kingdom, there are 9 of them, including gender, sexuality, race, religion, and so forth. It is not representative. Out of 12 justices in the Supreme Court, we've got a record 3 women now, but senior parts of the judiciary are not representative. It's going to take 120 years before the judiciary in the United Kingdom is representative of the society it seeks to serve. Out of the legal branches, the solicitor branch being the biggest, we have led the way, but as I say, it should not have taken 200 years to get a person of colour to become president.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, Sidum, can you please share with us how you are advocating for women's rights in Algeria.
Thank you.
I think it works.
Paris Bar, when contact me, I said yes, and I said yes to Women's Forum without any hesitation. My experience is different. Why? Because I was first woman president of bar in Algeria, in Maghreb, in North Africa, in between 2014 at 2020.
Okay.
And another year from the COVID. Donc 7 ans, 7
years.
years. I was my nomination with reforms of justice minister, and in 2014 I called 400 signatures of lawyers to require a bar, Bouira bars. And in this, after integrism, after we now, and difficult cause of women who ne pouvaient pas être. But I was at the origin of the creation of the bar of the Bouira. And between 19 of my members, it was 8 women's members. C'est la moitié. It was a revolution. Never has an Algerian bar this number of women. For me, it was already my first feat. I made my order known both nationally and internationally, since I made my bar join the UIA, and the first bar with which I established relationships and exchange was the bars of Paris. Yes, and in this case, Maître Dominique Bord, who helped me to provide to 2 lawyers with training within the Paris bar. We organized seminars in Algeria with UIA and the Algerian bars, and the Ministry of Justice was partner. So we proved to the state that we could do many things, of course. As a woman president of bar, I participated and make proposition when it came to changes to laws. Finally, the last modification on the Constitution opened enormous opportunities for women to access important positions within the state, and finally, you should know that 68% of lawyers are women in Algeria, and 16% are magistrates in Algeria. This shows the extent of the place that women occupy in Algeria. The fight must continue slowly but surely. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bravo, thank you. I would like to warmly thank you for your strong and inspiring messages. When I'm listening to you, I'm convinced that the law needs women. We need you. You are the essence. Thank you so much.
Many, many, many thanks to you all indeed for this great conversation and for your great contribution to law and to justice for women and other causes, of course. Thank you.